I mean, I see nor hear no evil. Black writings on the wall.
Unleash a million faces.
One by one they fall.
Black-hearted evil.
Brave-hearted gyro.
Tasty. I am 50% C, 50% weed.
I am 800,
2300 Empire today.
My dad failed. What?
It's clear you're working.
I know. I don't know why why Sonic's just on the thing is I'm not even that big of a fan of the games. I think I've made that clear. I'm not the biggest fan of some of the games except for the first adventure. But I like the characters and on the stories and stuff. I think it's a lot of potential and a lot of really cool stuff.
It's an incredibly enticing franchise. It's
yeah.
It just grabs anyone and everyone.
It's just the only thing which always off-puts me is that people only know Crush 40 for they're the Sonic guys. It's I wish they would do more outside of Sonic. I know before Adventure 2 and all that stuff and Adventure all the Adventure stuff. I know they did do stuff outside of that, but it seems after the Sonic stuff, that's just kind of all they became known for.
Well, it's because of how monumentally popular Sonic is. Once you take a step into Sonic in any creative venture, that is what you're going to be known for the rest of your life. I feel bad for the Nazo guy because I think he wants to make an animated pilot for something else, and from what I've seen of that, it looks incredibly different. It's not related to Sonic at all, but he's gonna be the Nazo guy for the rest of his life. That's it. I mean, hell, my YouTube presence only ever got popular because of the Sonic videos I made.
Didn't you ever want to be anything else?
Maybe always set a course back to them.
Alright.
Yeah, no, even from the fucking beginning, it's they're because Crush 40 used to be known as Sons of Angels.
Yeah.
Even in their first album, one of the songs was "Open Your Heart," which was the Sonic Adventure main theme. So it's even from the beginning, it's actually it seems initially that wasn't ever the plan. It was its own thing. "Open Your Heart" is listed as a bonus track on there.
Yeah,
And then
they were doomed from the start.
They say it was once home to a family.
And then their second album was a self-titled album, and the first fucking song is "Live and Learn."
Mm-hmm.
Why? What happened?
Most of the family died.
I think they're just running with it at this point.
How did they
Yeah, no, by 2003, it's they just ran with it, and it looks like they only ever had 2 albums, just straight up.
Maybe they're happier doing just Sonic stuff. I don't know. I certainly hope so.
I get that it can be tempting to dig into something like this.
I guarantee you, though, none of them have ever played a Sonic game in their life.
In other people's business.
What?
Everyone on Crush 40, they've never played a Sonic game. I feel like that's a safe bet.
What do the dead care?
I mean, from what I'm seeing, it's only 2 people.
Anyway,
Oh, really? I thought they... No, I guess Jun Sonoy does the guitar stuff.
so now the place is deserted. Some heartless folks started calling it Blood City.
I tried listening to Crush 40's album, and it's alright. It's nothing I would listen to all the time, but it's fine.
But I guess that doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Because now it's just blood, Edward Island.
Well, that explains that.
Yeah, no, they have 2 studio albums, 1 EP release, 2 live albums, but most live albums are usually just stuff from their studio albums, just live, and then they've had 2 compilation albums. So discography wise, they really haven't had a lot. A lot of their stuff has just been essentially Sonic related.
This could be my dad we're talking about.
Sorry, miss.
Also, technically, they do have 4 members. Obviously, they have a bass player and they have a drum player, but their main the main vocals and guitar players have been the most consistent.
Your aunt?
They've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4. They've gone through fucking 5 to 6 drummers. Like, Jesus. They had one from 98 to 2001. Then their next drummer was from 2001 to 2005. Then the drummer, there was actually briefly a drummer in 2003.
Right.
And then they had another drummer from 2005 to 2016. And in between that, there was another drummer in 2009.
See you later.
Also, Shadow spin-off movies can, apparently something that's happening.
I heard about that. I like Shadow, but that's a bad idea. I'm already a little unsure if Sonic 3 is going to do well. I don't imagine a Shadow movie will be a big box office hit.
But he's Shadow.
Yeah, I love Shadow, but what I'm thinking is when, like, people who don't know Sonic see Sonic, they're like, oh, that's a cute little character. I'll go see that movie. Mom and Pop will see that, and they might see it on their own, but I don't know if those same people would see a Shadow movie.
You wanna know what'd be really funny?
What?
As if they made it rated R. They did it like fucking like full on mature. It's like, hey, it's a hell yeah, sure. Give something, because it seems like the main Sonic movies have been for a general audience. It's like anyone can watch, but like make something more specifically for adults.
You know, Sonic 3, there are rumors that it's going to be PG-13.
Oh no, to my knowledge that's confirmed, because like there was a rating system that went through in the UK, or actually no, like in Europe, and like the equivalent over here in America is PG-13.
I don't know if that's a good idea. That sounds like a bad idea.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like as the movies go on, it's like the audiences are getting older. It's like make something that appeals more to older audiences.
Oh, sure, but I feel like forever and ever, like, kids are gonna love Sonic no matter the age, or no matter the group of people. I feel like more kids will come in to replace those kids who grow up.
I guess, but I mean, it's the same thing that the games did, especially with like the adventure stuff, because like I was always under the impression that the adventure games are meant to appeal to older audiences.
I think that's Adventure 2 feels like that. Adventure 1 still feels like all ages.
Why can't they make up their mind?
'Cause it's Sonic. I'd say there should be a cap. There's only so mature I think Sonic should go.
I want to see Shadow murdering people.
The way I see it, I think Sonic should be more mature than Mario, but not, like, rated T for teen.
Yeah, no, they should all be rated M for mature.
No.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea.
No, I want to see Sonic swear.
You want to see Knuckles chase Eggman's robots into a strip club?
Yes.
That's a clip in Sonic X.
I can get to the mansion.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
I want to see them adapt your art pieces and do them in the game.
I don't want people to get mad at me.
Why would people get mad?
Because people would say I ruined Sonic.
No, people would say you just made Sonic even better.
Sonic fans are vicious, man. They are fucking picky. I feel like they would rip me limb from limb.
I'm around to rip them limb from limb.
You know, I try meticulously. I try so hard to write Sonic right, and I still... Sonic fans are so picky, I still feel like I'm doing it wrong.
I think you're doing a great job.
Well, that means a lot.
I think you're a really great writer.
I saw a tweet about that earlier today where a guy was like, name the fandom who doesn't want to have any sort of change to any of their characters ever. And a guy replied talking about, well, he shared 4 pictures and one of them was Sonic. But, the guy responded to the Superman picture. A guy did saying, excuse me for not wanting Superman to be a dictator. It's like that right there. That's the attitude the guy was talking about. Take a chill pill.
I mean, the thing is about, like, when it comes to Superman, it's like, the people are like, oh, like, he has to be specifically played by this person, and his characterization has to be specifically this way, but it's like, that's not true. It's like, even in the comics, it's like, there are different versions that have, like, different characterizations. It seems like a similar thing can be, like, applied to Sonic.
Yeah, no, because they were always changing their minds. They were always they were always really afraid of, upsetting people, it seems.
And the thing is, like, if you're gonna change your mind and go in a different route, then it's like, just like, stick to it. Like, don't change your mind again, like, keep flip-flopping. That, I can understand why people would be a little bit frustrated or upset about, but there's nothing wrong with, like, let's say, like, oh, let's have Sonic, like, kill someone and, or, like, have him go through that sort of arc. It's like, it's different.
I hope what they're doing now, they just stick with it. Like, people were begging and pleading for Ian Flynn to be the writer, and he is now. So, I hope people just are happy with that. And if they want to bitch and cry about it again, then, well, that's your mistake.
The problem is Sega needs to have some backbone and tell people, like, fuck off, we're gonna make the game how we want to make it.
I think what they're doing now is fine, honestly. I think it's nice that they have a lore manager now and they're trying to keep things consistent. That's respectable. Even if it's not in the way people want exactly. Like, listen, be happy that they're trying at all. They weren't trying very much before.
a lot of people, like, I was reading, a lot of people seem to trash on Ian Flynn's writing, but from what I saw in Frontiers and all that stuff, I thought it was all pretty good.
That's funny because, you know, like 5 years ago, everybody was like, fucking let Ian Flynn write. He would do better than these shitty writers.
Yeah, and then people just started trashing on him for some reason.
Yep, because Sonic fans flip-flop, and Sega listens to Sonic fans, and that's why they flip-flop. Sega is in a never...
Sega needs to listen to, like, their own fucking, like, internal logic and do what they think's best.
Sega needs to listen to some good writers and not Sonic fans.
Yep.
I know that's mean to say, but not a lot, Sonic fans are not good writers most of the time. They're fucking idiots. They don't understand the process of making a video game in the slightest.
I'd like to see you try and get on the writing team for Sonic.
I think when you write a game, you have to understand the... You gotta understand the scope of the game along with your idea for the story. With Sonic Forces, the people who wanted to rewrite Sonic Forces thinking they could do it better didn't understand what they were working with. You're working with a 2-hour game. You can't have a bunch of playable characters and a bunch of story arcs and a bunch of this and that and this and that. You have a small amount of cutscenes to work with, and you have a lot of, like, characters talking back and forth in these little narrative bubbles. You gotta work with those pieces to make a good story.
Or just find a way to extend it out past 2 hours. Like, if you want to tell a big story like that with scope, you at least need, like, 6 hours.
I know this is cheap, but filler it up. Why not? Get some filler, reuse some levels. I don't know. If you need that time for the story, then do whatever filler you need to do.
I couldn't imagine it being that hard to import new levels. Like, I'm not a developer, so, like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know what I'm talking about, because I don't. But, like, it seems like that's something like Sonic modders and stuff have done in the past, just, like, import new levels into games.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you're making the new game, think of the themes that you want for the new game, and then make building blocks revolving around those themes that you can use to make as many levels as you want.
Right.
That way the level designing process can be simple, and if you need to extend the game for the story, even if the levels are built a little bit cheaply, you can still make more levels and get to that end goal.
I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I don't know what the point of classic Sonic being in Forces was. I don't know what the point of him being there was. And
there was no point, really, when he did nothing. He contributed nothing to the story. I think the point was just fan service. I think Sonic doing short games might have been a safe play at around that time. I don't even know why they... You can't do an end of the world scenario game on a budget title. That was their first big mistake, was taking a concept with that large of a scope and running with a smaller budget. Because it was a $40 game when it came out. It wasn't a AAA game, it was a budget. I think that's, people might have, gotten lost in their expectations because of the premise and forgotten the price indicates what kind of game this actually is. So I said that, I think for a budget title, you could have your cake and eat it too. You've just got to sort of shrink the scope a little bit. So maybe instead of Eggman taking over the entire planet, you could have him take over a small, personal to the character's location, like a valuable hub to all of them.
Could you imagine if they tried to adapt an IDW comic like in a game?
I think that would be a massive mistake.
Yeah, no, because it's like you can't adapt something that's meant for one medium and try and faithful. Like it's possible. Like you do have like video game movies or like games based like loosely based off of movies that like can work well, but it's like it just seems like the IDW stuff like its formatting, like you can't put that in a game. Like it's just a comic.
I think they could take parts of it and start to implement it into the games, but I think it would be a very big mistake for them to try to follow up a comic with a game or a game with a comic or anything like that. That's too much to track for an average person. But I think introducing certain characters and certain pieces would be fine. Yeah, and plus, I don't know, I wouldn't even want to see them try, because I'm getting really tired of Sonic fans being negative, and I don't want to hear how they did it wrong, and blah, 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 blah. When it comes...
But friends want to see the funny green character in game.
No, I want to see Surgeon Kid in the game, too. I just don't want to see people whine about... Frankly, I stay out of Sonic Discord these days. I can't stand it anymore. It's so fucking whiny. Sonic fans talk about toxic positivity these days, but I feel like the only reason people would be toxically positive is because it's a pendulum swing. After years of people just complaining and complaining and complaining, of course people are gonna flip to the opposite spectrum and be too positive, because it eventually just gets tiring listening to people whine.
What should I do? I don't want to just...
You know, like me.
I've got my own, and I've got to be back at the dock tonight.
What you're talking about is completely justified.
I am sorry for it. I hope I'm not talking too much. It's just a very interesting topic.
Mister.
Yeah.
I like talking to you about stuff. I like hearing what you have to say.
Well, I appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate that I can nerd out to you about this without being annoying.
You could never be annoying.
I think the problem I have is when I see Sonic reviews these days, even the title is bitchy. I saw a Sonic review with the title, "Does Sonic Frontiers suck?" And I'm like, well, fuck you then. That's not what you wouldn't say, "Does Mario Wonder suck?" You do that for Sonic, specifically. So I'm not giving you a chance.
I even remember there was some reviewers who thought that Sonic should have just stayed in the 90s.
Weird.
He's like a relic or something.
I don't think so. I think Sonic is too valuable of an IP. It's too good of an IP. Kids love it.
Well, you know, opinions are always changing.
Well, also, my era was the best. It should have stopped at my era, because it was the best era, because it was mine.
I mean, I do occasionally, think, maybe, because I know, originally, one of the things, Adventure 2 was supposedly going to be the last game in the franchise. And I feel like, honestly, that would have been a good stopping point. But, I have no issue with them, I have no issue with the fact, they continued afterwards, but, I don't know, sometimes they maybe that would have been, a good stopping point, because, that game did kind of feel like a finale for everything.
I think, It's a good personal conclusion. If somebody wants to stop playing Sonic games there, then they can. And if you don't want to keep up with Sonic after that, fine, don't. That's on the player.
I don't know. Especially with Shadow, it feels like his like death, quote unquote, like that felt really definitive, and I'm assuming it was like that's how it was written.
I mean, I think the game was made the way it was because Sega was expecting to go down under.
Yeah.
So they made it thinking it was going to end. That's why Sonic Unleashed was made the way it was too, because I'm pretty sure they thought that was the end too. When Sega thinks something's gonna end, they usually end it with a bang.
Yeah, and that could be why it seems like there was so much like general story change and game change for Adventure 2, because like I said, like Tails wasn't even meant to be in that game to begin with. It was literally just supposed to be you play as Eggman, Knuckles, and Sonic. Like those were the only playable characters apparently, and. Again, there was a video I saw on it, and I read into some stuff as well. It seems like the big bad was supposed to be Shadow, like that always was the plan.
Yeah.
But it seems like a bunch of writing changes happened because like they thought they were gonna go down under. So it's like, okay, let's like rewrite this entire thing to make it like a swan song.
I think what they did, I think it was a very smart, it was a very smartly made game as a finale.
Yeah. It's just a shame that, like, honestly, like, I'm not that big of a fan of the gameplay itself.
That's totally fair. I think it either hits a lot for people or it doesn't hit them at all. I think for you, it just didn't hit you at all. For me, I'm sort of in the middle of the camp.
The problem is the only parts I don't like of that game is the treasure hunting stuff. Like, I like the Eggman and Tails parts, like the run and gun stuff. I really like those parts. I like the Sonic and the Shadow stages as well. I think all of those are fun. But like, I just do not like the fucking treasure hunting stuff. Like, it ruins it for me.
I think, unfortunately, when it comes to all three of the gameplay styles, I think in trying to make the levels harder, they just end up making them worse.
Yeah. The thing is, like, honestly, I would have preferred had they stuck with the original idea, because the thing is, like, having Rouge in there be like have treasure hunting stages, that doubles the amount of treasure hunting you have to do in it. And it's my understanding that the only reason why, like, there's another, originally, yeah, Rouge was supposed to have like nothing to do with Knuckles. Like, she's supposed to be her own character. They're supposed to be like, she wasn't even a playable character. She was just like a side character. That's my understanding of like the original version of it. And the only reason why she got added as like a secondary treasure hunter character is because when they were basically told like, hey, bring Tails back. Tails was essentially a clone of Eggman. So there's like, okay, like here we could just do like 2 more clones, like do this. So it's like that would honestly probably explain why like Shadow is essentially a Sonic clone and Rouge is a Knuckles clone.
Yeah, I think I've never heard anyone bring this up, but I think one of the bigger problems with the game is they didn't prioritize Shadow enough in the Dark story. There is a boatload of Eggman and Rouge stages, but not really Shadow.
Actually, there is beta footage. What's the level where it's like all like
Skyrail?
It's not Pumpkin Hill, but yeah, Skyrail, where it's like it's Sonic in it.
Yeah, so is that why you assume like Shadow probably wasn't going to be playable?
Yeah, no, and that's the common belief is well, like he was never really meant to be playable.
Yeah, because when you think about it, because that would have given Sonic 10 stages, which is how many stages he had in Adventure. So they gave Sonic 6 and they gave Shadow 4. Which unfortunately led to Team Dark being the worst story of the two.
It wouldn't surprise me if all of Shadow's stages were meant for Sonic. Like it would not surprise me. It seems like that is kind of like the common belief as well. It's like Shadow was never meant to be playable. So Tails was never even meant to be in the game to begin with. Shadow was never meant to be playable, and Rouge was just supposed to be a side character.
Yeah.
But like because of people wanting to bring, like the thing is like instead of like giving Tails and like all the Tails versus Shadow like their own unique gameplay styles, that they just did clones of the 3 existing characters they had set.
I think with the time they had to make that game, I think that's a perfectly understandable thing to do.
I remember now.
And I think that's why I prefer Adventure 1 a lot more, because like it has like okay, a bunch of playable characters, but they each play differently.
I think that was the thing. With Adventure 1, they prioritized unique gameplay over unique stages. Adventure 2 prioritized unique stages over unique gameplay.
But the thing is, Adventure 1 reused stages, but it did it in a way that was smart, where it's like, okay, like, it's this big story, and you see it from different perspectives and stuff, so that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
Like,
they
reuse
built the
of,
stages
like,
for
elements.
multiple characters.
You want me to figure it out?
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're fine. Another thing I wasn't that big of a fan of, like, it kind of dropped the whole, like, hub world stuff. Like, I know, like, technically there's, like, the Chow Garden and all that stuff, but, like, I don't know, like, I just preferred Adventure 1's method of doing it.
Yeah, I guess the thing is with Sonic Adventure, they're only going to 3 locations. With Sonic Adventure 2, there's more of a variety, and the story is built more to be on the go. So I think with Sonic Adventure, the hub worlds sort of work with the story. The story is a little more laxed than Adventure 2.
Yeah, and like I'm fine with having like I do like Adventure 2's story, but like I said, I don't like the gameplay because like that's another thing. Like I don't like the repetition of it, especially because like there are 6 characters, but like half of them are just fucking clones. Essentially,
Yeah.
it's like Tails is this like the Tails is the exact same as Eggman, Shadow's the exact same as Sonic, and Rouge is the exact same as Knuckles. Like it would have been like had they had like another year of development or something, I feel like they would have actually made them more unique. But like they didn't have that time, so like in that instance, it did feel kind of rushed.
Yeah, I think they did fine for the time they were given.
I feel like had each character been unique, I would have stuck with it more because like I played through Adventure 2 once before. Like I beat it. Like I did all through all 3 stories. I did all of that. So it's like I can say like I played through it and I got through it, but like on my like the second time when I was on the call with you and I tried playing through it again, I just couldn't do it. By I think it was the 3rd, maybe 4th treasure hunting stage, I was just like no.
I didn't mean to talk to you, Ghost. I'm trying to get to the door. Yeah, when you think about Perfect Chaos as like 59 11s at once.
Actually, straight like if something like if Perfect Chaos like, or if that was like an actual like real life situation, it's like the world would fucking be changed like forever. Like nothing would be the same after that.
It's funny to think about, but yeah, people would talk about that for ages.
Like that would go down in history as one of the most like devastating disasters in all of mankind.
Would that be as big as a Hiroshima? I don't know about that.
I'd say it would be on par because that's like both are like a city getting fucking decimated.
Was Hiroshima a city or a country? It was a city. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry, I'm being dumb.
I'd say like it was definitely like an equivalent. If anyone thinks you're stupid, I'm gonna fight them.
Listen, if anybody watching thinks I'm stupid, you're right, and I agree with you. Oh fuck.
Also, off topic, I'm reading that in the Wii version of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, there is an ice sculpture of Perfect Chaos. Yeah, let's just celebrate this fucking creature that killed like hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah.
60,000 murdered, 220,000 injured. Wahoo!
Can't believe it.
It's just a fucking an ice sculpture. Yeah, like let's idolize him. Sure.
I just imagine like Sonic and I don't know, Knuckles in the audience being like, boy, the Mushroom Kingdom folk really don't understand the scope of that situation.
Come on, D.
a statue of perfect chaos made of ice appears at the end of the Sonic World version of the Dream figure skating event when the ice rink assumes the appearance of Station Square. Let's just let's just give our cast of characters of fucking like PTSD flashbacks. Sure. Also, I'm reading that like Station Square looks a lot like New York, and apparently parts of it were based off of New York, and New York itself has almost 9 million people in it.
Okay, so Perfect Chaos would have killed like 9 million people.
Potentially, like I think the range would be anywhere from like 500,000 to like 5 million.
Okay, so you're the guy who knows about the legal stuff. Would Eggman be held accountable for any of that?
I mean, he's kind of the reason why it happened, so probably.
So that's probably what happened if the blowing up of the Earth. Oh, yeah, certainly. Eggman blowing up. That's one of those things where it's like, yeah, they didn't think about it when they did it, and you shouldn't too.
And the thing is, it's like, okay, yeah, no, it's like the moon is still technically there, but like with a blast of like that blast in general, like it took like the half a chunk out of the moon. It's like that would have pushed the moon out like slightly out of its like normal gravitational so it's like any sort of blast like that, it's like given how much like of an impact there was on the moon there, that should have like moved it like somewhat out of place.
Yeah.
It should have just like started it should have just started going in its own direction.
Yeah, this is a thing where, because it was the end of the series, from their perspective, they weren't thinking, and that's the consequences of their actions.
Because the thing is, like, they treat it like all the moon just has a crater in it now, it's completely fine, but it's like, if we're talking real world like scenarios, like, it would have been like the actual like moon's gravitational like pull, or like what, I don't know, I'm tired and I'm not sure what the exact term is, but like it would have been thrown out of whack and there would have been flooding like all across the fucking Earth.
I think it was very wise of them to ignore it. Because that's something you shouldn't be thinking about in a Sonic game.
Yeah, like the thing is like fucking blowing up the moon like that, taking a chunk out of it, it's like a blast that powerful, like that would definitely send it further. Like I'm not sure if it would take it out of Earth's orbit, but like
Eggman could have. The point being, Eggman could have made his point by blowing up Mexico instead.
Yeah, or Finland, I don't know.
Or the Middle East, do us a favor. I'm kidding, that's mean. Every year there's a new conflict, and I'm just like Mr. Incredible. I just want it to stay saved.
Let's blow up Brazil.
I just cleaned up this mess. Can we keep it clean for 10 minutes?